use a chair, and we'll need blankets, right? You can always have something to use as a strap nearby. I'm not sure if we're going to use that or not, but it's kind of nice. So any kind of exercise strap or scarf, even a towel can work as a strap. And you might need a block, but if you don't have a yoga block, I'll give you some options. So you might just want to have a yoga block if you have one, and if not, maybe an extra towel or blanket to use. All right, and let's start on our backs with our knees bent. So constructive rest pose. Knees bent, if that feels okay with your knees. Head and neck supported with a blanket. And as you lie here, just begin by noticing all the contact points with the floor. So scanning your body and noticing where your feet are touching, your toes are touching, and then where your hips are making contact with the floor. And noticing where your back is touching the floor and where it's not. So just the difference there. And then the back of your head and your arms. And then noticing sounds you hear, orienting yourself to your space. So it's like how your body feels temperature-wise. What are the sounds that are in your environment or coming across the Zoom into your environment from mine? And then the light that you see. You might even, if you got your eyes closed, you might open and just notice the ceiling above you. Good, and get an overall feeling for how your body feels right now, sensation-wise, physical sensation. If you're in a lot of pain today, try not to overly focus on it, but just get this general idea of how you feel sensation-wise. And you might just take a sigh here. So just out your mouth, letting go. And then let's do that again. So as you inhale, you could inhale through your nose, and then as you exhale, could go with a sigh, or you could breathe out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out a lot of birthday candles, slowly. And you might repeat that a couple of times, or you could begin to breathe in and out just through your nose, whatever you like better. And today our focus is going to be more on what's called the monomyokosha, which is like the layer of us as humans that is the mental and emotional body. We call it the mental and emotional body. Mono kind of refers to mind. I can't remember if that's a direct translation or not, but so notice, how does your mind feel right now? Does it, and with just curiosity, no judgment, does it feel relaxed or groggy or excited and active, busy? And then how do your emotions feel right now? Is there an emotion that you can identify right now? And welcome whatever is present for you, welcome it in. So even if it's not considered pleasant to you, see if you can still welcome it in rather than push it away. And then let's take another inhale, a wide inhale if you can, feeling the torso expand three-dimensionally. And then a long exhale again, either through your nose or your mouth, noticing if you can soften somewhere, perhaps in your jaw or around your eyes. Good. And now on your next exhale, let's bring the right knee in and give it a catch with your hands. So just give it a hug, Good. Kind of notice how this feels. Your left leg can be bent or straight, and let's keep breathing, okay? You can circle that right knee around in a circle or the hip around in a circle. Now, for you guys dealing with pain around like the SI joints in that area, you might keep the knee in the center for a few breaths and straighten out the left leg on the floor strongly and just notice how this side feels. And you can also notice if you have any pinching in the front of the hip here. And you can move it to different locations. So it doesn't have to be a straight circle. It can just be different areas, moving it around even into a twist. Good. And then let's just put that foot on the floor. You can either straighten out the leg or keep it bent. And now let's stretch arms overhead toward the floor above you. And as you exhale, let's bring the left knee in and catch it with your hands. Right leg can be bent or straight. Can start to circle that left knee using your left hand. Or you can stay in the center and you might notice what this side feels like compared to the other side. And you can take different angles as well. Just keep breathing. All right, and now let's put that foot on the floor and we're going to keep the left knee bent and straighten the right leg. Arms relaxed, and all I'm going to do is press into my left foot and start to lift my left butt off the floor. So it's like if you had pockets on the back of your pants, you'd be lifting that left pocket off the floor and then letting it come back down. So it's like you're rocking it up, kind of turning the belly to the right a little bit and coming back down, as though you were going to push into that foot and roll onto your side. And same thing, if you've got low back stuff or stuff around your sacrum and your pelvis, you might just notice how this movement feels. Let it be rhythmic for you and soothing. So not making it too big unless you want to. To make it bigger, you just press in further, and now it's like I'm rolling onto my right side. I even let my left arm come over, and then I rock back onto my back again. So the left hip lifts up. I keep pushing with that left foot, rolling over to the right, and then rolling back down. Let's do a couple more. Good. And then let's come back to the center and bend both knees and just pause for a moment. Knees and feet are hips distance and parallel. And now let's exhale and press the low back down to the floor and try to feel that your abdominal muscles are turning on. And as you inhale, let's let that go. And some of you might even rock the pelvis forward. So now you have a low back curve. And then repeat. Exhale, pressing the low back down to the floor, and inhale, either releasing it or rocking it forward. Let's do a couple more. And what we're feeling for here is how you feel in the low back and in your pelvic region when you do this. And if you want the movement big or small. And we're also feeling for the core turning on. So when you press that low back down, can you feel the abdominals tighten? Good. Now, let's try to find a neutral position. And then we'll straighten out the left leg on the floor. So the right knee is bent. We're going to do that same little shift. So we're going to lift the right back pocket off the floor by pressing into the right foot and then rocking back down, and repeat. That's a very small rhythmic motion, noticing how this side feels. And you'll notice when you push into that foot, the right foot, the right knee kind of moves forward in space. You can make it bigger, so it's like you start to turn onto the left side. Your right arm could even come over a little bit. Good, and then coming back to the center, let's bend both knees and notice. Following your breath in and out. Good, now let's do a pelvic rock. Exhale as you press your low back down, and inhale as you rock it forward. And then exhale, press it down, and now find neutral. So it's in between those two spots. We're gonna take our hands and place them on your lower belly. So inside your hip bones and then up on top or just inside your pubic bone, that whole lower region. And we're just gonna inhale, feel your breath expand your torso. And as you exhale, let's blow out through pursed lips all the way to the end of the exhale and see if you can tighten those lower abdominal muscles on purpose. And if you dig your fingers in there, maybe you can notice them tightening. And then on the inhale, let's relax them and expand the torso. And as you exhale, blowing out like you're blowing out a lot of birthday candles and purposefully tightening the lower abdominals, almost like you're trying to draw the hip points closer together. And then release and inhale, expand. And again, tightening. Good, okay. Now, we're gonna keep that in mind and just take your hands behind your head. You're gonna inhale, and as you exhale, let's engage those lower abdominals and lift like you're lifting your nose toward the ceiling and you're just going up a little bit, and then inhale back down. And then exhale, begin the exhale first, try to tighten those lower abdominal muscles, just lifting the head a little bit, nose is facing ceiling, elbows stay wide, and inhale back down. We're just gonna try 2 more of those. And 1 more. Coming back down, let's release the arms and rock the head a little bit side to side. Good. Now, coming back to center, we're gonna inhale, and as you exhale, press the low back down, engage those lower abdominals. You can put your fingers back on them, and just lift your right knee up, and the right foot comes off the floor. Keep the abdominals engaged, and inhale, place the foot back down. And then exhale, begin your exhale, feel your lower abdominals tighten, and lift the left foot off the floor, and inhale, put it back down. Okay, so some of you are going to do that. That'll be enough for your low back. You're focusing on tightening the lower abdominals. Some of you are going to exhale to bring the one foot up, pause for the inhale, and then exhale to bring the other foot up. And you're going to stay with both feet off the floor as long as it doesn't strain your back, okay? All right, so choose what's right for you. And now let's take an inhale. And as you exhale, tighten those lower abdominals. You can touch it with your fingers and lift one foot off the floor. And then on the inhale, either putting it back down or pausing with it up. And then exhale, you're either lifting the other leg now or you're bringing the second leg up. Good. Now, if you're lowering and lifting one leg, you're going to alternate and keep going with your breath. If you're holding these up, I'm getting a ton of core work just here like this, okay? Even though I do core work a lot, I can feel my core working. I'm gonna keep those lower abdominals engaged and think that I'm tightening them downward, okay? And I've got my knees over my hips. If it becomes too much at any time, you just put the feet down. You're breathing here, you're relaxing your jaw, and you're trying to keep those lower abdominals tight. You can put your fingers there. One more breath. Good. And then on the next exhale, let's lower feet down and spread the arms wide. Take the feet a little wider with the knees bent, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees side to side. Maybe take a sigh or two. Good, and now you can either roll onto your side and use your hands to press up, or you can draw your knees into your belly and rock yourself up. Okay, I'm going to have a seat here on the floor, and you might want to sit up on your blanket or a pillow. You can use any props behind your back if you want. You can try to sit in Sukhasana, which means easy pose, right? You might need to prop with pillows, but if your legs don't want to do this, you don't have to, okay? And we're just going to spiral the torso. So let your breath flow, and you're turning around and around. They can be big or they can be small, okay? So for me right now, I'm feeling like I want to make them big, so I'm going around big. All right, now you're going to reverse that circle, go the other way. Good. All right, and then let's come back up to the center and just notice how your back feels seated, right? And if it feels strained, right? If you've got back issues and it feels strained, I recommend going up against your wall or a piece of furniture. So you've got something behind your back, so you're not trying to hold it up, okay? And then we'll stay in the center. Again, your legs can be any position. We'll inhale here and exhale. We're just gonna lean down a little bit or a lot to one side. Okay? And then we'll inhale through the center. If you want to, you could bring your arms up. And then exhale, lean down the other side. You could also leave your arms down low, okay? Just go side to side here. You can make these side bends big or small. Going slowly and moving with your breath can help keep you present, and it also just helps you notice what is working and feeling right in your body and when you might need to modify for yourself. Good. All right, now the next time you come up to the center, let's just bring the arms down. Now, you get a choice here. You can put your feet in front like this for cat and cow pose, right? So this is always an option for you if you can't kneel. You could even always be in a chair. And you'll see for cat and cow, what I'm doing is I'm going to inhale and bring my belly button forward, my chest forward. And then I'm going to exhale and round. Now, if you prefer and want to do this in a tabletop position on hands and knees, you can do that too, right? So you decide what works best for you. And just know that you can always choose between those, all right? Because what I'm telling you to do, I'm not in your body. You know what is right for you. And if you're not sure what's right for you, just err on the side of caution. And the more you practice yoga, the more you'll be able to be in tune with what feels right and to be able to really listen to that, right? To not try to just follow me or follow instructions. It's not necessary. Okay, a few more of these arches and flexing of the spine. Good. And now next time you come through center, we're all going to take a seat. So if you've been on hands and knees, just come to a seat. And I'm going to take my feet wide and my legs wide, straight or straight-ish, okay? Any amount. And again, you can have something behind your back. This pose is called Upavista Konasana. So you know how we said we were focusing on the mental body today, right? So some of that is learning as well, cognitive learning. So sometimes it's fun to learn the Sanskrit names of the poses. Upavista Konasana, upright, wide-legged pose. Okay, notice how that feels in your body. Inhale. And now exhale. To start to move, you can either tug your legs or you can put your hands behind your back for support. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together with the knees out wide. And this one, you can put hands behind or hold the ankles. This one is Baddha Konasana, bound wide angle pose or bound angle pose. Good. Noticing how this one feels. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the knees together and straighten the legs out in front for Dandasana, which means staff pose. Dandasana. So your hands can be behind you. Again, you could have the wall or a couch behind you. Inhale, sit up tall. Noticing if you're able to sit up tall, you might be back here. That's okay. Just use hands to kind of press. Good. And then as you exhale, let's go back to the first one, Upavista Konasana, the upright, wide-legged pose. Good. Inhale here. And as you exhale, Baddha Konasana. So we're going to bend the knees. You can use your hands to help if you want. Soles of feet together. Knees open. Hands can be wherever. Inhale here. And as you exhale, Dandasana, bringing knees together and then straightening the legs. Good. Inhale, you can really engage the legs here, even pulling the toes upward. And exhale, and let's stay here for a moment. Let's just point the ankles and flex. Okay. You can look at your ankles. Now let's roll the ankles around in a circle. And then the other way. Good, and just let them relax. Okay, we're gonna come onto our bellies. So you can lean to one side and bend the knees, coming down onto your belly. Now, you might need to have a rolled up blanket below your ankles, or if it feels like you want it below your hips, that's fine too. I'm gonna come all the way down. And you can find your way into Sphinx pose if that feels okay in your body. So for Sphinx pose, I'm propped up on my forearms like this, but notice that my elbows are either below my shoulders or a little ahead. They're not behind like this. Okay, this is a version of Cobra pose. It's different, okay? Another option, so say this is too much extension in your low back. You could take your elbows wide like this, stack the hands and see if this works, and just look down at your hands and breathe. Whatever one you're choosing, press your pubic bone down. If neither of them work, just come onto your belly and breathe. Okay, so Sphinx pose. And Sphinx and Cobra pose can be really helpful for any discs, like bulging discs and herniated discs. It can often help that. Maybe not when you're in a flare-up though, okay? But it can aggravate stenosis sometimes. You just have to see what works for your body, because a lot of people have both of those things going on. All right, now if you want to twist with me here, what we'll do is you could reach one arm forward and look around the opposite arm and shoulder. You can let the hips move, notice a little side bend, take a breath or two. And then come back to the center. And now the other way. And back to the center. Good. Now we're going to come down onto our bellies. And you can prop your forehead with the backs of your hands or turn your head, whatever works better. Okay? And what we're going to try to do now is turn on the glute muscles and the leg muscles. So we're just going to practice it. Right now, let's press the pubic bone down to the floor. And you should feel your glute muscles, your butt muscles turn on. So just see if you can feel that. And then release it. And then engage it and release it. Okay? Now we're going to be working on this area. So we're not going to try to use our low back muscles at all for these things. All right? So if you feel something in your low back, stop and back off a little bit. All right? So the first thing we'll try is engage the glutes and now engage the right leg, the thigh muscles, and then soften it and relax. And then engage the glutes and the left leg tightens and relax. And repeat side to side. So you're just trying to figure out, can you get these muscles to tighten and relax? Tighten and relax without getting into your low back at all. Now, when we move on from this, if you start to feel your low back tightening, then come back to this exercise, okay? Just getting your brain to get these muscles to turn on, okay? Otherwise, you can try to tighten by pressing the pubic bone down, tighten the right leg, and then inhale, lift the right leg just a little bit, because if you lift it high, you're going to use your low back. So we're just using the leg and glutes, and then come down, relax. Then tighten, inhale, lift left leg, bring it down, relax. So it's a version going side to side of locust pose, but we're just using the legs and glutes. And for most hip and low back issues, which a lot of people are dealing with right now, it's really important to get strong hips, strong glutes, strong legs. Let's see how this is feeling. And if you're finding, gosh, I'm still going to my low back, just stay with the tightening and relaxing. Now, if you're finding this is easy for you or just doesn't bother you at all and you want to work a little more, then next time, let's tighten both legs and lift both legs and hold it there. Pressing pubic bone down. Legs are not lifting very high, so you're hopefully not feeling it in your low back. You're feeling like you're extending your legs to the wall behind you. You're breathing. Couple more breaths here. And release. Now let's bend the knees so your feet face up toward the ceiling and just let the lower legs windshield wiper side to side. Good. And now to come up off the floor, we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So if you can't bear weight on one of your knees, you're just going to bring the knee forward. That's not that bad knee, okay? So those of us that can bear weight on our knees, bring either knee forward like you're crawling, okay? And then exhale, try to engage the abdominals and press down into your upper arms. Now, those of us who can bear weight on the knees will now be in a tabletop position. And those of us that can't, just come onto your feet and stand, okay? Those of us who are in a tabletop, let's inhale. And as you exhale, let's make the shoulders really strong. So widen the shoulders. Inhale again. And as you exhale, just come up onto your hands. Now, you can come up onto your feet any way you want. You can try this get up with me too, which is the bear get up. So what I'm going to do, and if you're not sure it's going to work, just get yourself to a piece of furniture to help yourself get up, okay? What I'm going to do is push off my hands, lift my knees off the floor, start walking my hands back, and come up to standing. And once you get up there, just inhale and reach your arms up. And exhale, arms out to the sides and down. Good, and now let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, let's bring the arms forward and up. If you want to, you can even look up. And then exhale, arms out and down. One more. Good. And then just rolling the shoulders a few times. Good, and now from here, let's start with our feet. So let's start by just doing some heel drops down onto the floor. So all that means is I'm not doing a full like lift as high as I can. I'm just going up a little bit and then dropping them down, dropping them down. And as I drop them down, my knees are soft, but I'm still making a bit of an impact here. Let's do a few more. Okay, and now let's just stand in Tadasana, which means mountain pose. And maybe after those heel drops, you might feel more connection with the floor, like a more grounded feeling. And from that space, can you feel like you're expanding upward toward the ceiling? And let's inhale through the nose, like you're doing a wide inhale. And we'll try our long exhale, like you are blowing out a lot of candles, and see if you can feel your abdominals turn on at the end of that exhale. And again. Good, now just breathe naturally and let's roll around the outer edges of one of your feet. Now you're always welcome to sit down, right? You can sit down in your chair and do a lot of these movements anyway. You can look at your ankle as you're doing this and just notice, like, are you actually able to trace the foot, or are there areas that you can't get to? And then let's reverse the circle as well. Let's go the opposite direction. Good. And now let's stand on both feet before switching sides and notice. And then do the second side. Keep breathing. Remember, you can look at it. And then reverse it. Good. All right, now let's take the feet either close, like touching, or just a little closer, whatever feels okay. I'm gonna put a little bend in the knees. And now your hands can kind of rest on your thighs, and I'm making circles with my knees. My knees are touching. Yours don't have to be. See what feels okay. And now reverse those circles. I'm just trying to get the knees on every ankle here. Good, and now come up to the center. Let's widen the feet, and now we'll hula hoop the hips. So take the hips to one side, back behind you, to the other side, and forward. And going the opposite way. And just noticing too what your mind is doing, right? So we're trying in yoga to keep ourselves, our attention present. And by doing that, we're in the present moment, kind of finding some freedom from our mental and emotional stuff, not pushing it away, just not focusing completely on it. Good. And then let's come back to the center here, and we'll put a little bend in the knees, and we're going to try some cats and cows here as well. So rounding any amount, and as I round, I'm tucking my tail, so I got my knees a little bent, and then I'm arching my spine. And you can do this again, any amount that feels okay in your body. Good. Good. And then let's come to the center. And we're just going to turn the head side to side. Keep breathing. Notice your feet on the floor. Good. Coming back to center, let's go up with the head and down any amount. Let's try to soften your jaw. Good. And then coming back to the center, let's try the neck side to side very gently. Right, back to center, feet a little wide, a swinging twist. And let your arms flop around. You can look behind you if it feels okay. Good, and then coming back to the center again, let's take the hands and interlace the hands, the fingers, I mean. Okay, we're going to keep the elbows down and make like a figure 8 on its side. And then reverse that. Keep breathing. It might be hard to reverse it. Good. And now we're going to inhale and take our arms out to the sides and make like stop signs. Your wrists a little lower than your shoulders. Okay. And as you exhale, let's make a fist and then turn the knuckles to the floor. And repeat. So we're going to inhale stop signs and exhale knuckles down. Flexion of the wrist. 2 more. And 1 more. Good, and then just come down, shake it out a little bit. All right, we're gonna get our chairs and just bring the chair back next to you for balance support. You could also use a wall if it's better for you. You don't have to use the balance support, but it's there if you need it, okay? I'm just gonna inhale, standing tall, feeling my feet grounded. And exhale, find something out in front of you to look at softly, okay? And then inhale, get as tall as you can. And as you exhale, can you lift your right knee up any amount? And then inhale, stand tall, and exhale, put it back down. Okay, and then inhale, standing tall, exhale, left knee up any amount. Inhale, stand tall, exhale, lower. Again, both sides. Inhale, exhale, you lift. Inhale, you hold. Exhale, you go down. You can go at your own timing. Good. All right. Now we're going to change it just a little bit. Of course, you could do this seated in a chair too. Okay. I'm going to show it standing. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, right knee lifts. Inhale, could you straighten out the leg? It might need to lower a lot. And then exhale, bend and down. Okay, inhale, tall. Exhale, left leg lifts. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and down. Keep going. So you're just going side to side, moving with the breath. And if you find that you have to lean back a lot to straighten the leg, kind of like this, just lower the leg when you straighten it. Okay, keep going. And maybe you can do it, for those of you that have been practicing a while and your balance has been getting better, you can try to do it without balance support, right? So a dynamic balance here with some leg strengthening. You use the exhale for some of the effort. Your core will hopefully naturally engage. It's supporting you there, even if you feel like you don't have a strong core. Good. Next time you calm down, just pause. Might feel good to swing and twist or hula hoop. You can notice how your back's doing. All right. And shake it out a little bit too. Do a little bouncing like you're on a trampoline. Just to bounce, bounce, bounce. Let your shoulders relax. All right. Now we're going to try a static balance. So you can use your chair or not. And we're going to do just tree pose, Vrikasana, okay? Now, you could do that with the knee out to the side or forward. I'm going to talk you through it. Just find some focal point, inhale. And as you exhale, let's bring up one of your legs, doesn't matter which, and then you can open the knee to the side if it feels okay. Now, your foot could stay on the floor even when you open it to the side. You could bring it down like this, or you could have it up higher. But what you're trying to do is not sit into the standing hip. Try to stay lifted out of it. Your hands could come into the center, or you might be holding your prop, or they could come up to the ceiling. You're breathing, and it's okay if you're wobbling all over the place. That's part of the practice. Just noticing that. Soft eyes. And when you're ready to come down, see if you can bring the knee forward and down. Good. This is going to step side to side between sides. And then we'll do the second side. Okay, so you inhale, get your focal point, stand tall. Exhale, bring the other knee up, maybe turn it out, put it where it feels like you're getting just enough challenge for you today. Try to lift up through your center. Soft eyes, soft jaw. Good. And then when you're ready, your knee can come forward and then down. Good. Now I'm going to shake it out a little bit. Now we're going to turn the chair so that it faces us. And the seat, I mean, sorry. Now, if you have a lot of trouble with balance today, you might need a wall at your side or a piece of furniture at your side, because we're going to be putting a foot on the chair, okay? So just keep that in mind. You can always relocate if needed. Okay, so we're going to stand tall. Inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to try to lift the right foot up and hover it over the seat of the chair. You might have to drop it right down, but just see if you can hover it for a moment and then put it down. Okay, good. And then just try to get oriented to this different position. Okay, and inhale, stand tall. And exhale, try to blow out before you move, engaging your abdominals. Maybe you could float the foot. And then inhale, put it back down. Now, for you guys with low back pain, when you're doing these little hovers, just make sure you're not going into your back, right? So usually, wherever we have a problem area, we tend to clench and constrict there, right? So just be aware, and if you are constricting and you can't change it, then just don't do the movement, okay? Instead, we want our core supporting us here, and we're using our hip flexors. So we're strengthening that hip flexor muscle. Good. All right, let's keep it on the chair. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit with my bottom leg and straighten out the top leg. Okay. Now from here, some of you might be having a tucked tail. You might be like this, right? Are you able to stand up tall and find a neutral pelvis so that the tail goes back behind you? If you're really tight in the leg, you might have to bend the knee in order to be able to untuck. That's fine, okay? Let's just see where we can be in neutral. Some of you are more mobile, and you're gonna be able to hinge at the hip joint and start to lean forward. So this is like a variation on Hanumanasana pose, or half Hanumanasana pose, which is like a half split. We're not doing the splits, but we're stretching this hamstring, right? Good. Keep breathing. Now, if you find that you start to round and tuck the tail, you can either bend the knee and find that length through the spine, or you could just not lean over as far. Okay, a couple more breaths here. Good. And now from here, let's bend that upper leg and stand upright. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, see if you can hover the leg off the chair and then step back down. Okay. Inhale, stand tall. We're going to try to hover the other leg. Exhale, see if you can bring that foot up, hovering it, and set it down. We'll just do a couple of hovers. Again, paying attention to using the exhale, noticing if you are going into low back or any other tight areas as you try to do the effort of floating and lifting. Good. And then next time you put it down, we can back up the lower leg and straighten the top leg. And then first work on neutral pelvis if you can, okay, just in standing. And if that happens for you, you can start to hinge at the hip. You might need a bent knee in order to hinge. You don't have to hinge, okay? See what works in your body here and just try to have soft, smooth breath. Relaxing jaw. Noticing how your mind feels. And when you're ready to come out, you can bend that upper knee, stand upright, and then use the exhale. You might be able to hover and come down. Good. Let's just go side to side a little bit. So we've been doing these asymmetrical poses. We were talking about this last week, I believe, with the sacrum class, just the difference between if you're having issues in the pelvic region, in the low back, sometimes one side bothers it and one side feels relief. So kind of noticing that, we're going to go to a symmetrical pose now. Okay, so we're going to inhale, arms up, exhale, hinge and fold, taking your hands to the chair. Now, if you've got low back issues, if it hurts to lean over, you might just sit in the chair instead and put your arms on your knees and kind of lean forward if it feels okay. If this is all okay, we're going to step our feet back so that you stretch out in downward dog pose. And knees can always be bent here. And take a few breaths here. So arms on the chair, head comes down between arms if it can. Breathing in and breathing out. Good, and now let's slowly bend the knees and walk back toward the chair. Inhale to extend your spine forward and exhale, bend the knees like you're sitting in a little chair behind you and lift your torso up. Good. Pause there, knees bent. Good. Inhale. Exhale, stand all the way up. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Good. Let's step our right foot underneath the chair. Okay. Exhale, left leg steps back just a little bit, not like as far as you can. Our feet are like they're on two tracks or two skis. Okay, I'm gonna inhale up, and as you exhale, put a bend, a little one, in your right knee. And I'm gonna hinge forward as long as it doesn't bother my back, okay? If it bothers your back, just stay up there, taking my hands to the chair. Okay, so again, if this bothers your back, stay upright and you can be here, like a little mini warrior one, okay? If you're down here with me, just start to straighten the front leg a little bit or all the way, depending on your mobility. Okay? And then start to shift your weight between the front and the back hip. So another asymmetrical pose. You want to check in with your pelvic area and your low back. And as you shift your hips, you'll notice they're moving, right? They kind of move to the right and move to the left as you shift weight. Could you find a spot in between the two that just feels like it's about even? And notice if that feels okay, right? It's okay to bend the front knee a little or a lot. Can you inhale, feel like you're tilting your tail up toward the ceiling? Good. And then exhale, either stay upright like this, or you can fold downward toward the chair or the floor. Try to notice the three corners of each of your feet and breathe. You're going to press down and the ball of your foot, inner and outer ball, and the center of the heel of both feet. One more breath. Good. And now let's inhale, bend the front knee, reach your chest forward. And exhale, we're just going to step left foot underneath chair and step right leg back. So we're going to start down this time. Okay, a little bend in the front knee. Kind of getting your bearings here. Not a lot of weight on the hands, all right? Otherwise, your wrists are going to get tired. Weight is in the legs. And just try to straighten the front leg a little or a lot, and then just start the hip shift. So I'm just taking my weight forward to back, noticing how this side forward in this asymmetrical pose feels. Couple more. Good, and then finding the middle and trying to tilt your tail up toward the ceiling. And now either staying like this or folding downward. Just a few breaths here, trying to feel the three corners of both of your feet. Good, and now slowly bending the front knee. Inhale to reach your chest forward. We're going to come down to the floor. So if you need to change your arrangement to get down there for your knee pain or for your back, go for it. Okay. Otherwise, those of us that are not limited like that can just bring the back knee down. Okay. And then come on down. Use your hands to help. Take your time. No rush. Okay. We're going to need our blankets. And put that below your head and neck just to make things softer. Good. So you come back down to constructive rest pose. And just check in for a moment once you get there. Okay, no rush at all. With shoulder blades down your back. Notice how you feel. Can you soften your jaw and your face? We're going to do a figure four stretch, and I'm going to give some options, Janet, for you as well. Okay, so let's just start with either side. And so for Janet, just start with your better side. Okay, so we're going to inhale, stretch a leg up, and exhale, you're going to cross that ankle over the opposite thigh. And now this might be a really tight position, and you might just stay here pushing a gentle pressure on the knee so it goes out to the side, right? And that's like the top of a four, right? Some of you might not have enough stretch and might need to lift the left foot off the floor. I like putting it on the chair like this, but you could also thread the needle where you take your hand in that little hole of the four and clasp behind the other leg. Okay, so those are all options. You might even, I really like to rock side to side in this pose. And we're aiming for feeling an opening in the outer hip of the leg you're stretching. Some of those external rotators, the hip rotators. A couple more breaths here. But you might feel some stuff on the inside as well. You just don't want to feel any pain. And when you're ready, coming back to center, getting your feet grounded. Going into your second side as you're ready. And if you're having an issue with this, Like Janet, what you could do is find the spot where it doesn't hurt at all. So I might just come into more of a hip flexion position. So I've still got my foot on the opposite knee, but my knee is really toward my chest rather than out to the side. And then I might very slowly, using an exhale, just open it a little bit into an area where there's no pain. And then I would bring it back in. Right? So I just kind of open it a little and close it a little, noticing where that is for you. So you're thinking of this as more of an exploration. Otherwise, you could be doing a figure four gentle stretch, pushing it out, or any of the variations I showed. Good, and then coming out as you're ready. Now, if your low back feels okay to do bridge pose today, and only if it does, you might like a bridge pose. It might be a nice way to get some symmetry again through the low back and pelvis. So if you're doing that, you could take away something from behind your head and just press the low back down to the floor and lift the hips up. And you can come up and down or just hold it. But if this irritates your low back, then just skip it. You might windshield wiper instead or bring your knees in. Feel your glutes working if you're doing bridge pose. You can even rest your sacrum on a block if you want. And then whenever you're ready, let's windshield wiper the knees side to side. After you come down, of course. Can get back your head and neck support, and you can take a rest either in Shavasana with legs straight. You could prop your legs over the chair, or you could be in constructive rest with the knees bent. Just find a position where you feel supported and where you can practice letting go. You might even put the weight of a blanket over your body. You might take a couple sighs here. So noticing all the contact points with the floor again. Letting your breath be natural. Softening in your jaw and your tongue and around your eyes. Noticing your whole body from your feet to your head, just scanning it without any particular purpose, just noticing whatever you notice. And doing the same thing for your mind, just mentally and emotionally noticing what's there. And if there were one way that you wanted to feel for the rest of your day today, you could bring that to mind as one quality. Imagine you're breathing in that quality to every part, every cell of your body. And notice how that might affect how you feel right now, just with that focus. You can stay here as long as you have time for, really practicing letting go, allowing yourself to fully rest and be supported. And I will see you all.